Hey, everybody, this is Josh from Lavabox and ProtectOurRivers.org, and you're listening to The Trailhead.
Hello, Trailheads, and welcome to The Trailhead. Before the trails start today, we need to have a short safety meeting. Off-roading is an exhilarating but inherently risky sport. The insights and opinions that are shared by our hosts and any experts or guests on the podcast are intended to inform and inspire, not replace professional guidance. The Trailhead guests, partners, and any sponsors are not liable for any actions that you take based on what you hear. It is your responsibility to seek professional advice and make informed decisions, especially when attempting potentially dangerous activities. Always check current trail conditions and comply with local laws and regulations. Off-roading requires careful preparation and respect for safety, so ensure that you're well prepared before hitting the trails. And now that that's out of the way, buckle up and let the stories begin.
Wake it up, let it roar, feel the ground shake. Pedal down, dust flying, no time to waste. The trailhead's calling, engine power on a roll. This is where trails start and stories unfold. On the starlit skies, where the wild things roam. Every trail a journey, every Jeep a home. Meet at the trailhead, where the wild ones run. The dust kicks high and the day's not done. With the road wide open and the dirt in our soul. This is where trails start and our stories unfold.
Welcome to the Trailhead, everybody. Today we have got, joining me in the hosting panel is Pope. How you doing, man?
Great. How are you tonight, JD?
I am doing fantastic. I am in the middle of all of these interviews that I booked for us for this whole week, and then I booked some more for next week. I'm just lining them up.
That's awesome. I heard you had a good interview with Tyree.
We did. I've kind of got a standing relationship with Tyree for a couple of years now, and they've, Eric came on as in the last few months there is kind of there to kind of really help push the off-road market stuff, and it was kind of the perfect time because I feel like we kind of finally know what we're doing here. Pope, I'm going to put that in air quotes. But I felt like it was time to bring him in. What'd you say?
Well, you still haven't introduced our guest yet, but
I'm getting there. Well, he interrupted me with a question, so
that's true. That's true.
So our interrupter in chief was Bryan, also known as BeatriceJKU or Beatrice Rubicon JKU. What are you going by these days?
It's Beatrice Rubicon JKU because everybody has to have a middle name. I mean,
okay,
you got to have a middle name, so or just Beatrice JKU.
Okay,
that's what most people know it by. I mean, none of us in this Instagram world of right now, it feels like hate, but in this Instagram world, nobody knows anybody's like real names unless they actually hang out with them and wheel with them.
I mean, there is that. There's part of me that if I didn't have the little verified badge, I don't think people would know my name. Maybe the podcast, but more people know my Jeep.
I recently learned your name was Bryan. I'm putting you on my potential enemies list.
Oh, what did I do, Pope?
Your name is Bryan.
Were you not here for that conversation? Oh, you might have had to leave.
All right,
last live I had to leave.
Oh, dude, you missed the funniest thing. So my real name is Bryan. Not a lot of people know that, unless they listen to the podcast. Is it with a Y or an I? It's with an I.
Oh.
Because people who spell it with a Y have it spelled incorrectly.
I blame it on the drugs that my mother was doing.
So, and then you got the Bryans with the I, and then you have Bryan with the Y. But ultimately, especially Bryans with an I, for some reason, I don't like them. And so, I don't know why, but it seems to be from my childhood growing up when there were 3 or 4 Bryans in my class. And naturally, there's Bryans I work with at work, and I see that name on the screen. I'm like, fuck, I hate this guy.
Well, I mean, I traditionally go by Lunchbox. That's been my nickname since I was about 6 years old. I got the nickname Lunchbox because when I went to kindergarten, I took 2 lunchboxes. Yes, I was a fat kid.
Hey,
Lunchbox.
fat kids for the win.
Fat
So,
kid
you
for the
know,
win.
my friends, my family, they all call me Lunchbox because, like you, I dislike my name. I much would have rather gone by my middle one.
Yeah,
That's
I just
funny.
don't. Yeah, I don't like my own name. It's not that it's other people's names. I just also don't like it on me. I don't like. So yeah, I agree with you. So that's why I go by the Pope. And when people say, "Well, what's your name?" The space Pope. What's your middle name? It's the space.
Yeah, it's the space. It's that
Just a
air in
bunch-
between. It's that
Yeah.
pause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole
What?
like this is just a podcast full of people that don't like their given names. I love it.
Yeah,
I
it's like
I don't know.
fantastic.
like if you could pick your own name, like would you change it constantly, or would you just pick it when you just started? Like,
No, I think
when
I
you-
would just stick with Lunchbox or LB.
LB.
Like if you could get that on your driver's license.
Yeah, I mean, my grandmother gave it to me when I was 6, and it
Okay.
just kind of stuck all the way through college, all the way through the army, everything.
Like Lunchbox is your actual name.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean-
you know, my bio mom didn't give birth to me, and she, you know, she had her own issues in life, and that's a whole Dr. Phil episode, / Montel Williams, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know if
Alright.
we do that here.
We don't really do that here, but we can. We're here to support you in any way you need,
I
buddy.
don't know. I'm good. Thousands of hours of therapy.
There
I'm
it
good
is.
with it now.
Thousands of hours of therapy ruined by Pope in
Yeah.
10 seconds.
Yep,
That sounds
it's
about
all
right.
good. You know,
In with slight concern that I might be diving into a subject you don't want to talk about, where did you grow?
I grew up in Washington State.
Okay, so you've always kind of been a West Coast person.
Yeah,
In some way?
left coast is the best coast. I've
Amen, brother.
you know, my wife and I met in Minnesota. Within a year, we moved to Denver. We spent 7 years in Denver.
Hmm.
Are you from
And-
Minnesota originally?
No, my wife is.
Oh, just your wife is?
Yeah, I couldn't stand it there. It's cold. It's cold, and everybody asks the same question. Hey, what high school did you go to? To me, I'm just like, why don't
Like
you
I've-
ask what college you go to? Like we
Well,
all just didn't
that's-
stop
that-
at high school.
Not a lot of people in Minnesota.
Evidently,
Most of them got hit in the head with hockey pucks, and it's kind of
yeah.
oh man.
We can do those
Um,
jokes because there's not a lot. It's not a huge off-roading crowd in Minnesota. I'm not worried about losing that audience today.
No, there's not. I mean, there's not. Yeah, but I met her in Minnesota. Dated for about a year, and then we moved to Denver, and that was 10 years ago. Over 10 years. So I'm about to celebrate 11 years.
That's cool. Where'd you live in Denver?
We lived in. Let's see here. We lived in the ghetto, and
Okay.
then just
So-called
outside
facts.
the ghetto.
Oh,
No, we
I'm
lived
familiar.
in Lowry. We lived in the Lowry neighborhood in
okay.
Denver, and then we lived in Northfield. We moved the day before everybody got put on lockdown for COVID. We moved into a townhouse that was perfect. It was perfect. I had a garage. I had everything. I could sit there and I had just bought it. We had just bought Beatrice like a month prior, and
Yeah.
it was fully bone stock. And I sat in I could go to 3 places in Denver. I could go to the liquor store, the grocery store, or the auto parts store. Well, on my way to the auto parts store, I had to pass a liquor store. So I sat in my garage, and built a Jeep all of COVID.
I think everybody on this show will tell you that COVID was bad for our bank accounts and good for the Jeep brand and all of its aftermarket creators.
It was.
sure has been great for the people who have parts on my Jeep. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been fun. It's been a fun journey, and you know, most of the people that I've met have been great. There's that few outliers that I could sit there and say, you know, I'd like to punch them in the throat.
True. I think that's true of every community, though. Like, there's always a few people, and there's always the folks that you like, but you also kind of want to strangle them half the time. And it's especially as the family gets bigger, so do some of the struggles.
Yeah.
And so you left Colorado for
Mesquite,
the
Nevada.
desert. Yeah, it's the desert. Why Mesquite? Any
Because
particular reason?
we wanted to be close to Sand Hollow, and be
Okay.
able to wheel Sand Hollow. whenever we want, but evidently I have a busy schedule and we aren't here much. Um,
That'll, yeah.
we were gonna move to St. George, and then I realized that Utah has really high taxes, like right up next to Colorado taxes.
You're adorable with your high taxes. I lived in Illinois. It's a friggin' dream here.
That 10 or 11% income tax isn't really that fun to add on to your federal stuff, and that's for sure.
No, that's your mods for the year. Like when you don't have to pay state income tax, that's your mods for the year. That's not
Yeah.
your breakdown stuff.
Yep.
That's your mods.
Yeah. You're starting to dig into the hardcore stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so we bought a house in Mesquite. It's an affordable place to live. 25,000 people live here. I'm a mile and a half from Trail. I can go, or I'm an hour from Sand Hollow, 30 minutes from Logandale Trail System, an hour and 10 minutes from Vegas.
I mean,
Four and a
that'd
half.
be dangerous for me.
Yeah, 4 hours. I'm 4 hours from from Johnson Valley, where King of Hammers is at. 3 or 4 hours from Arizona, where we go down and wheel during this time of year.
Okay. Yesterday I had a conversation. We were talking with Rich Klein, and I had no idea there was that much wheeling near Mesquite.
There is.
I've driven through there a number of times. I'm away from Colorado to Vegas, and I had no idea.
Yeah, and I mean, I can go from my house, I can leave my house and spend a mile and a half on pavement and go all the way to the Grand Canyon and back in one day,
That's
and
cool.
never touch pavement.
I've
That's
done
really
that
cool.
route, or very similar route. We did this during Trail Hero last year. We head out to Whitmore Canyon Overlook and then drive back. Drove past an airport with an airplane on, it was a single airplane at this airport, and you're driving past it in your Jeeps at 88 miles an hour. It's a blast.
It's awesome. I mean, Nevada has no laws either, so I don't have to this place is like the Wild West. You don't have to run fender flares. You don't have to run fenders. You can run open wheel. As long as you're running. I think you have to have a windshield. I think, but I'm not 100% on that one. As long as you have goggles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I should have bought a house in Mesquite.
Well, and also we don't have to do admissions here.
Okay. Yeah, we don't. That was the one part. I moved from one county to another in Colorado, and now I don't have to do emissions. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
It's a lot of desert.
Yeah, it's actually so right. Like today was 65 and sunny. A variable 5 knot wind out of the north. So it had a little chill to it, but it's shorts, hoodies, and flip flop weather. I don't have to
Nice.
deal with snow. The arthritis doesn't hurt.
Nice. All right. So how did you? Let's get into the nitty gritty of it, man. What are you driving? What's your RevKit page say?
I have a 2013 JKU Rubicon 10th anniversary edition. 534 of them ever made with black on black, black exterior, black interior, double triangulated rear end, 3-link long arm in the front, a 2.5-ton steering, all from RPM steering, motobuilt fuel cell, motobuilt cage, of course PRP harnesses, because I don't know anybody else that makes good harnesses. PRP removable steering wheel, PSC. I did put in PSC after Trail Hero, Pope.
Very good.
So I do like the one finger now going over middle
Dude, your
marquee.
life is going to change. Now you can come on any trail with me, because I don't like wheeling without people without hydro assist on those hard things, because they can't steer, and you don't know how much you can do. Yeah, you get sore, and then you might break something too. So
yeah, we did put PSC the week after Trail Hero into Beatrice, and then on my RevKit page I also have an 85 CJ7 with an LS3 Atlas transfer case. We're getting ready to take it up to Salt Lake City for it to be worked on all winter.
Ooh,
yeah.
What's your winter project?
Yeah, it's the winter project where it's already on 40s, it's already on Competition Kings, but I need to stretch it. I need to build a whole new frame for it.
All right.
And then it's going to get, the minute that's done, it'll go on trail, hopefully with Pope, and he can certify that this thing can wheel. And then and then it gets a price, and then it gets a for sale sign in it.
I mean, your previous setup before you had the 2.5 ton, it was still a really good setup.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to kill that thing and I couldn't. My 1 ton steering I had for 4.5 years, on a 3.5 inch mid arm kit, and I absolutely loved it. It just didn't, when you move to a place to make Sand Hollow your primary place where you wheel, it's time to start rethinking stuff where you're going to long arm kits so you have longer travel. And so that when you're looking at all the stuff that goes on with the wheeling, and everything's changing so fast within the off-road community, that I mean, my setup works. I like it. I never felt off camber. I'll say that, except for on 777s. 777s, I really don't think I ever want to do again.
With your new setup.
Um, I haven't tried it with the PSC, but without PSC, I didn't. I got into a one spot where I felt like I was off camber, and it just was one of those, just a feeling that I got. Like
I know the spot. I know the
Yeah.
spot. It's right before the fin crossing.
Yep. But outside of that, I had no problems crawling up everything. Running Revolution gear and axle 513 gears with their Kamali shafts now. So that's really nice. And when I did the 3-link long arm and the 4-link double triangular long arm, Don at RPM looked at me and said, "You're not going to want to get rid of Beatrice," because it was going to go to the wife, and the wife was going to drive it. Yeah, no, nope.
All right.
We'll buy her a
Is-
two-door JK that I want really bad.
So,
Okay.
for people who aren't familiar with that setup, some people who listen to our podcast hear Randy talk about it. She has a version of the double triangulated setup, but explain the benefits and why you decided to go with that.
So with the double triangulated in the rear, I don't have to run a track bar anymore. So it allows to move the gas tank from the side to the rear. And then you have better approach angles, and you are, with the double triangulated, you actually get more flex. And on a 36-inch stand, I sit nicely all four on the ground. So
That's impressive.
I mean, for newcomers to the show or to the off-roading, your stability is what makes everything. We all think it's really cool to have that Jeep wave, the tire
It's
up
not.
in the air.
No,
It's not.
not.
It's not
It's fun
fun.
for Instagram likes, but that's
Yeah.
about it.
But it messes with your entire suspension system, especially when you come down hard.
Yeah. And your
That's
psyche.
why you have to come down soft.
Yeah.
Please see the disclaimer that plays before the beginning of the
Yes.
show, ladies and gentlemen.
So one of the things that Randy likes about that is she's able to articulate in way more angles than you could before. Jeep waves have almost all but gone away unless we're in something super duper sketchy. But for the most part, they're not happening no more. It's just like, it's been a great setup. Too bad there is one for the Gladiator, but it's I haven't been impressed by that setup. And I don't know if it's because of the 16-inch shocks or.
I think we're talking about the same setup, for the Gladiator. It kind of sketched me out. I didn't know if the frame was going to bend in half when I saw it first time.
Do you run any? Are you running any sway bars?
I do. I run a Rock Jock heavy in my rear and a light in my front.
All right.
Just because of my relationship with Rock Jock, I asked to run them. I don't have to run a front at all. And when we went out to Windrock, I just disconnected it and slung them up. And I had really nice flex. It's just for some of the things that, plus the aluminum Rock Jock sway bars look they just look amazing.
Yes,
They just look at the all aluminum, the billet aluminum just makes it pop.
You could get it powder coated a rainbow like Randy did.
I mean, no.
They just pop. They're amazing.
Yeah. And JD, to your question, up until I did the 3 and 4 link, I was doing everything in my garage myself.
The 3 and 4 link is where you're like, that's enough.
I am not a very proficient welder, and
Okay.
I didn't feel comfortable doing that on a vehicle that I'm taking on very dangerous trails.
Yeah,
Okay.
this setup is usually new cross members, new shock mounts, new track bar mounts from top and bottom in the back, and you're rearranging them on the axle so that they're centered. It's a lot of welding. You don't want to take that lightly.
Yeah, you're cutting out two cross members. In the rear, you're cutting out two cross members and putting one new one in. Um, and then in the front, you're cutting out all your mid arms, all your stock bracketry is getting cut out, ground down, and then you're re-welding it into a new cross member that goes around the skid plate. But that is one nice thing about going to a 3-link long arm and a double triangulated long arm is you have skid plates now that your engine and transmission and transfer cases are all protected. I mean, in Colorado, like there's only one trail that we didn't do in Colorado, and I'm not doing Black Bear.
No
Anything
heights for
else?
you?
I walked Imogen, the whole thing, all the way down. I walked all the way down,
You could
all the
have
way
just
into
done
the
that as
pizza
part of that
place.
yearly thing that they do.
I walked it all the way down, all the way into the pizza place, grabbed a couple beers, and said, "Okay, that's over with."
All right. So I know what the hard limits. But you did red cone, didn't you? I thought I just saw a picture of you on
Red
red
cone's
cone.
nothing next to red cone. I put the flagpole that is actually on red cone, the steel one.
Yeah.
I put that there.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that way, because it used to be a wood one that was like they had to replace every other year.
Mm-hmm.
We were going up there to run for September 11th. We ran it 1 year, and
So that was that in your Veterans Day post you just did the other day?
no, that was the wood one, but I have pictures of the ones from the metal one. It's galvanized steel, and it was probably 2 feet taller than that one. Yeah, they go up there and change the flag every year because the flag it doesn't last very long up there.
Yeah. If somebody's smart enough, they take it down before winter. But usually people have false hope as to how long red cone will stay open. So
Yeah.
there's not much left there in the spring. Yeah. So, well, all right. I got to ask a quick question then along those lines. So you won't do Blackberry. You didn't do Imogene. Thinking like, would you do? And I realize this is kind of a hyper local question for the Colorado people, but like Saxon Mountain, is it the same kind of a thing for you?
don't-
Just no to
you
the
know-
cliffs and the edges.
It's the cliffs
Okay.
that really like it's one of those things like in my mind I could jump out of a perfectly good airplane, and if my chute doesn't open, I'm dead.
Yeah.
But if I'm on the side of a cliff and I roll, I'm not dead. I'm just paralyzed, and that just sucks.
So
That's fair.
No cliffhanger for you then.
No. They made
What
a
if-
movie with Sylvester Stallone, but no.
how about Plan B in San Hollow?
Yeah, I'd probably do that one. I mean, I did
Which-
the maze, and the maze there's some sketchy areas. Like, what is that hard left-hand turn on the maze? Where you're kind of out there a little bit. You're not like on Plan
Mills.
B, not on Plan B where you're coming around the corner and there's just a sheer cliff, but you do have to get a little off camber on that hard left-hand turn on the maze.
I saw that picture. I think Pope. I think you posted that picture, and I don't necessarily know if the video or the picture didn't do it justice. But how long is that drop there?
That's a good healthy drop. I think that's a 25-30 foot drop off the side of the tilt-a-whirl.
Okay.
Yeah, it
That's
might be
not-
farther than that actually. It just all I know is it would suck, and I don't like
Yeah.
to look out that way while I'm driving around it. I
Yeah.
have a tendency to drive toward where I'm looking.
Yep.
So
When you're
I keep it
when
laser
you're-
focused on the wall, and in fact, I've
No.
never seen it from that angle until Spartacus took a picture of it and showed it to me. I was like, it almost doesn't do it justice because you feel like you're about to fall off. You feel like your tire is just about in the cliff there.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've seen pictures, and I'd probably do it if I was with a group of people that I knew really well, and I trusted.
okay.
Whereas like this last weekend, I was out on trail and out in Logandale, and I didn't know anybody except for the one person that I was with. And she's a phenomenal wheeler. She just doesn't have lockers in her front, so she can't do all the stuff that I'm that I was going to go do. Luckily, we
Mm.
met up with some buggy guys that got me through some of the, the harder lines that I thought was fun. But I wanted to be home by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and so we only ran a quick mile trail and loaded up, and went home.
I mean, a mile done is better than no miles done. Go ahead, Pope.
Did you go to Logandale? Or I mean, you went to Logandale, but did you go do Hump and Bump? Or
Yep.
were you was that part of that when you did that?
We did humping, but it was for just the one day because I had SEMA. I had SEMA last week, and
I hear that's the thing to do is hump and
you
bump.
got to wash SEMA off of yourself once in a while. And that's how you do it by getting on trail.
I hate when I get it on my face.
Yeah, I know it's. But I was out there with Tyree Lights at SEMA in their booth talking lighting with people.
That's awesome. Yeah, Rich was talking about the hump and bump and how much he loves doing that too. And he's very much in the same breath. He's like, after a few days of just kind of schmoozing and running around, shaking hands and talking to people, it's kind of nice to get out in the middle of nowhere for a couple of days or however long you manage to stay for it.
And it's really not that far. Like you park at the fairgrounds, and then 5 minutes you're on trail. It's not that far away. It's just one of those. It's a nice small event. It's with Vegas 4x4. Vegas, what is it? Vegas 4x4 Off Road Club or something like that.
I think Vegas Valley Four Wheelers.
Yeah, that's who it was. And Kevin, the president there, is a really good dude. He was in a dunk tank with me for Go Topless. For the Go Topless event in Vegas, where I helped raise money for charity by letting kids throw baseballs at Instagrammers.
I mean, could we do that again just because? I mean,
Yeah, why not?
I've only met you once, but I wouldn't mind throwing a baseball at you.
Yeah, hey, let's do it. I'm down for anything for charity.
Fair
You know?
enough. That works. Yep.
The couple times you met me, I had a migraine headache at Trail Hero on Wednesday and just didn't want to. I didn't want to be there, but I knew I had to make a presence.
Yeah.
And it was probably would have been better if I just skipped it
and rested. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was not a happy person.
Well, I think that was the day I saw you. I'm at least glad I got a chance to see you in person. So appreciate you putting one for the team.
Well, plus I'm trying to be more family friendly.
Okay.
I'm not.
Like it's not necessarily a goal of this show, but okay, good for you.
No. But it's trying to be a little more family friendly because I have a social media advisor that I talk to on a weekly basis that's trying to help advise some certain things, and to realize
Is it your wife?
No, actually, his name's Adventure Rob.
Oh, okay.
And we'll be up in Salt Lake City for a movie premiere of his life story.
That's cool.
In Centerville, wherever that's at. Pope, I don't know where Centerville's at.
It's quite a ways north of Salt Lake, about 25 miles north, I think.
So it's what South Jordan or Jordan?
No, that's the other direction.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
Awesome.
him and I talk about being a national brand and not just being a local brand. And putting a little different branding out there that is not the 20-30-year-old something of myself that probably shouldn't have done the stupid shit that he did, but luckily it was not on video, and now everything's on video.
I am so grateful for the fact that I did not grow up with social media. I all of the things that I did, I'm sure all of the statutes and limitations have passed on all of those events, but I still wouldn't want to risk it. So I'm glad that those things don't exist. And I feel bad about kids these days. I feel like that's part of the reason why kids don't do shit, because they know they're going to get caught. And the ones that don't know they're going to get caught do the stupidest. So
yeah, I'm glad we didn't have video cameras on our phones.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for capturing shit I'm doing with the Jeep and stuff, but there are times where I wish I didn't have a phone number attached to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we're talking about doing SEMA next year as a group, and I've been encouraged to check out the Hump and Bump afterwards, so we'll see how that goes.
Yes,
might just have to make that happen.
I highly recommend. They have a whole media section at SEMA that you can do a live from there every day. Yeah. And that was right down the way from Tyree, and they had like 4 or 5 different shows going on at any given time.
Yeah, I was
And
kicking
then,
myself a little bit afterwards.
but then hump and bump, you do hump and bump, and hump and bump's not hard. It is, I think the hardest trail out there is a 6.
Okay.
So it's not, I mean, you can make it as hard as you want or as easy as you want because there are a lot of buggy lines. But it is also where they filmed, what's that Matt Damon movie where he's on Mars?
Is it really? Oh, now
Yeah.
I gotta go. Okay, The Martian. It's a great movie.
I mean, you like earlier you had me fill out a questionnaire thing, and one of the questions was what was my favorite trail or
Yeah.
off-road memory. But what was your guys's?
Oh, it's not supposed to be an interview about us, but I will answer the question. Um, Honestly, I think that's something that's a consistently changing answer. I mean, honestly, Trail Hero was I'm still having trouble putting the overall event into words as far as just how much fun I had at it. Um, but I mean, I think it goes back to sometimes when it's your first off-roading experience and like when you first like had a moment of awe while you're out on a trail, whether it was going over an obstacle or being on top of a mountain or whatever else it is. And for me, that's always Argentine Pass, man. It was the first trail I went above the timberline, first trail that I got up there and
Nice.
saw those mountains. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I love it. I still love it to this day. Still my favorite trail.
Nice.
For me, it's the first time we went to Sand Hollow. We wheeled with we had our friends, Sand Hollow 4x4. They weren't called that at the time, and they're friends with Holly Mischief Maker, and Holly is friends with Glenn Plake and with Bleepin' Colt and Bleepin' Jeep and all those guys, right? So the first time we go out to wheel, we're thinking we're gonna go wheeling with Holly. And we are going to go wheeling with Holly. But I actually had no damn idea how hard Sand Hollow trails really actually were. They look so much different on TV than when you're out there. We probably slowed them down way more than they ever anticipated. It took us like forever to do double Sammy, Milt's Mile. We didn't even get all the way to the end. Didn't know how to drive my rig at the time. And then Glenn Plake is out there and we're doing some stuff on Milts, and then Glenn sits me down and says, okay, watch what's going on with Randy while she drives. And he starts showing me how the tires and stuff are working. And he explains to me how you're supposed to be driving the trail and how you're supposed to be lining up your tires and how your rear tire moves differently when you're turning versus the front. Suddenly, Elvis, I start getting it. And by the end of 2 days in Sand Hollow, I felt like I had a whole different experience. But the weirdest part of that, though, like literally showing up and Mischief Maker's there, Bleeping Colt is there. It was like we fell asleep watching YouTube and woke up in a dream, and started having a dream about what we fell asleep watching. And then it was real life. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. We were the trail tampons. We were a pain in the ass. And, we eventually, they eventually got us through it. And then the next day Mischief Maker took us on the maze, and that was a much different day. We took an abbreviated route, went straight to You Gotta Be Nuts, and had to get winched up the back part because I couldn't figure out how to bump it to get up the back. And, and so if you've ever been on that trail, the backside is actually kind of hard, but it's not that hard. But for what our skill level was at the time, it was, and no one could figure out how the hell to explain anything.
No, and the maze, even the roundabout is not, it's not easy.
So that's 3 years ago, and I still think that's my favorite memory since.
Nice.
We basically hang out in Sand Hollow as much as possible, but it is totally different. That's what started it.
Yeah.
Well, you want to come down Saturday?
Let's talk after the show. I have actually some information that I can tell you that isn't public.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, we try not to advertise those things anymore. Exact locations and places unless it's an event.
I don't know what we're running Saturday though.
That's a good idea. So I mean, and you didn't answer that question, but do you at least have a memory that sticks out, or a trail that sticks out, or an event?
I will say that my favorite trail that I've ever done is Pritchett Canyon. I know Randy would disagree with me on this one.
But say, did you break anything and or roll anything on it?
No,
I've
actually,
heard
it
lots
was
of stories.
For me, wheeling and getting out there is about disconnecting from your cell phone and your Wi-Fi and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on 37 KO2s, full on overlanding rig at that point. Yeah, I had mid arms. Yeah, I had a 3.5 inch lift, but I didn't realize that I had 373 gearing, and I ran the whole trail.
I
It took
mean,
14
I
and a
too
half
like to live
hours.
dangerously. Oh, geez.
But
Good
it was the
Lord.
best. But my wife didn't have self service, so she wasn't answering emails or being on work calls. Um,
Oh, boy.
and it was, got to spend some time with some good friends from Washington and enjoy some good solid trail time.
It's a long day on Pritchett, though.
It is. Not as long as when you have to get towed out at 1 a.m. by Trailmaker, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Well, if you want to go ahead and one up our guest, go ahead, Paul.
yeah, I mean, or
I could be Mr. One Up. Yeah, Matt's not here, so I could do that.
or Milt's Mile is always a fun one. It's a short day, but I finally got up Middle Monkey this last Trail Hero, and that was my goal for the entire week, was to get up that one, because it'd been my nemesis. But I didn't realize that going into the summer that I was running 373 gearing. My workup from Jeep says 488 gearing.
Mhm.
But whoever owned it from the factory until when I bought it, they re-geared it down to 373 to be a tow rig.
Wow. So now that you're running
Now that I'm running
513 gears, you feel like you got all the power in the world.
Yeah, I'm just like, holy cow! Like, I thought I had. I'm out here wheeling like I got 488s. Nope.
I mean, the good part about that is that when you get the gear you're supposed to have, you have all of that experience wheeling with the lesser equipment. So, I mean, I think it makes you a better wheeler.
Yeah, I mean, now it's just crawling. Now it's literally just crawling. It's, I've never been big into go fast. Growing up, I was into drags, drag cars and
that's
funny
cool.
cars and all that, and big motors.
Yeah.
And my first wheeling rig was a Ford Bronco. Yeah, but it had a 451 Cleveland in it, bored over.
So you weren't trailing with it.
No, I put it in the lake and had to swim out the front window.
Oh no! Really?
Yeah, I had
What?
American Lake at Fort Lewis, Washington. My buddy said, "Oh, there's a big mud puddle over there. Go through that." It wasn't a mud puddle; it was a lake. Swam out of the side windows.
So
Terrible.
Is the truck still there?
That Bronco got traded in the week after I dried it out. It got traded in for a Dodge Ram real quick.
Nice. Nice. And how long ago was that?
Oh, I was 23.
Statute of limitations passed.
Yeah, so
We're
25
well
years
past
ago.
So you didn't report that to the title then?
No, I called. I was in the Army at the time, and I called a Hemet Wrecker to come pick me up. So there's a gross utilization of military funds.
Okay. Fair enough.
To call a 24-hour Hemet Wrecker that's military to come out and drag my Bronco out of the lake.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do in a pinch.
It would take that to get it out, though. At the end of the day, that's what it's going to take. The thing's stuck in there.
Well, the best was having to swim back out there to hook up the line at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Because you're trying to get all this done before anybody notices that there's a random truck in the lake, right?
Or before they notice the Hemet Wrecker's gone.
Okay, I mean, also a concern. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, Washington's a different type of wheeling. I'll say that. I know you guys have Jason on the show all the time, and he'll attest to it. It's different. It's wet. It's muddy. It's like eating biscuits and gravy, but wheeling, because it sticks to everything.
Ugh. Did you wheel a lot back there when you were there?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up there my whole life.
Okay.
My very first car was a 1968 Ford F100. My grandmother hated it. She told me if I could kill it, I could get anything I wanted.
Oh, and you wouldn't take her up on that? Or did you try to?
I never put oil in that thing. I never put transmission fluid in it. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out how I never got a flat tire. I put 2-inch spacers on all my springs, just to see if I could break them.
Wow.
But if I could have that truck back now, oh man,
I know. It's real sad. I think what some of us think back to those cars that we had, and we're just like when you got rid of it, you're just like, oh, I'm so glad to be getting rid of this. It's a brand new vehicle. It's so nice to have. And then a few years later, you're just like, man, I really kind of wish I still had it.
There's a
So-
few cars that were like that, and then there's some that I'm really still glad I don't have.
Yeah, like a Ford Bronco.
I was thinking more like my Geo Metro and my Saturn are the
Oh,
two
come on, how
cars I
cool
don't
would it-
miss.
Oh, how cool would a Geo Metro be with 44s underneath, straight axles underneath it?
I would love that. For the record,
I mean,
I
it would
love
be
that shit.
It would be cute as hell.
It would be cute.
It'd be cute. We could put little flowers all over it.
Yeah, little 12-inch drive shafts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not all of the vehicles. I had a 1990 Sunbird was my first vehicle, and for a 6'6" person who was 450 pounds at the time, I did not fit in it. So I was glad when it died, if I'm being honest.
Man, I would take my 67 Beetle or my 77 Nova. Either of those two would be fun to have again.
I have a 65 Beetle in my garage right now.
Whoa. You building
Oh, what are you playing? Yeah, what are you doing with
car
that?
out of it?
It's slammed 2 inches off the ground.
It's the wrong direction. It's supposed to
It's
go
my
up.
it's my best friend's, but I've had possession of it
okay.
for like 2.5 years.
I think that's 9/10 of the law. It's yours now. Isn't
Yeah, I
it?
feel
You
like at
know,
that point, then you can just get yourself a right title.
Well, I called him. I said, "Hey, when you come and get this bug, I got another Jeep I want to start working on." And he's like, "Oh, I'm planning on doing this." Okay, all right, because you got about a month before I throw some 60s underneath it, and we're putting 44s and making it into a rock buggy.
100%, I think you should do that.
No,
Sorry,
it's
Brian's
I
friend.
don't know how I'd fit in that thing. Like, I'm not a small person, but those things, it just feels so tiny. It's like claustrophobia. It's like being in a submarine.
I mean, the Rockstar guys did it, didn't they? They made a bug into that crawler.
That thing's a beast.
Are all the drivers just 5.5 feet tall?
I don't know. I've only met one of them, and it was a lady. I think she is 5.5. I think she is 5'5".
I've only seen the vehicle once, and I saw it just drive by us at we were lined up the trail here.
I think I've seen Andy that normally drives Project Overkill in the rock buggy, but I think he's short too. I don't know.
Yeah. Trying to
So-
think, because I'll see him at Great American Crawl coming up next year. But I do want to get out to Vernal and wheel in Vernal.
Are you going to Vernal as part of an event or just heading out?
I don't know. I just might go head out and just go play.
It's a fun place. There's some
I
of
mean-
our favorite trails are there.
Not every off-roading trip has to be an adventure full of a ton of people.
Yes,
So-
it does.
What?
I know that.
No, actually, that's exactly the opposite. Like, if you get a small group, like 4 or 5 people there, maybe get 1 or 2 locals to take you around, that's going to be a fun day. When you start getting to the 20 to 30 people hanging out group, it's work.
I just got to find time because doesn't Vernal get snow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we leave the end of March to go to EJS, and we're in EJS for 2 days, and then we leave straight from there to go to Jeep Beach again.
Good Lord, are you going to do another trip like you did this summer?
Yeah, we're already scheduled for Jeep Beach, and then we're scheduled for Great Smoky Mountain, and that's a lot of fun. That I really had a lot of fun at that event, more than I anticipated I was going to have.
Vernal's cold until about June, and some of the higher things will still have snow in June, like Anderson Creek. The top of Anderson Creek still has snow in the middle of June, but most of it's cleared out by then, and it could be either 1,000,000 degrees or it can be freezing.
Could be Trail Hero this year, where you're like literally in an oven baking.
Yeah, it's been like that. Yeah, every year we've gone to Vernal Rock Rally in the middle of June. It's been 103, 102.
Well, that sounds delightful.
Yeah, you should come join us.
Yeah. Sounds about time we'll be coming back from because we got EJS because we're only there for a couple days. Hey, look at that. We're only there for a couple days at EJS, and then we go to Jeep Beach, and then we go to Panama City Jeep Jam, and then we come back home until Great Smoky Mountain. So it's not as bad because I don't have any like modifications that I need to do between now and then.
That's good. that's probably good just for your own mental health, because wrenching before events can get stressful.
Well, I start out about 3 months ahead of time. That's when I start really wrenching. Especially if
Are
I'm
you one
doing
of those
mods.
people that plans?
Yes,
Oh, damn it.
I
We
have
can't
an
have you. You're
entire
gonna go.
long year calendar in my. I like plans. Plans make it so it goes smoothly.
Oh, no, I'm with you. I'd love to be one of those people. I'm not one of those people. So I try to plan, and then it usually ends up being a whole lot of we'll make it up as we go along. So but I don't wrench, and I don't do that. So that's yeah.
I like
It's a,
wrenching. It calms my brain. Um, I can
okay,
go
fair
out.
enough.
I can go out in my garage, put on a podcast, or a YouTube channel, and just let it play all day long while I'm just turning wrenches and
That's cool. How
underneath
did
the.
you get into it in the first place?
I
Was it?
I'm a retired aviation mechanic from the Army.
I wanted you to bring that up. That was one
So
of those things where I really wanted you to talk about it because my dad was a mechanic in the Air Force too. It was one of
oh,
those.
nice.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
two pictures of him in front of these planes. So that's
nice.
really cool. He enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I worked on remote controlled airplanes, but they're the size of Cessnas. And
Murder drones.
yeah, I mean, I was a quality assurer. My actual job title was quality assurance, quality control, NCOIC, in charge of PACCOM and all of Fort Lewis's drone program. I had a big long title
That
that said I stamped a bunch of stuff.
that's a lot of words. Does
Yeah.
LinkedIn allow for all of that when you try to
Uh,
put it in there?
I don't have a LinkedIn account. I don't even
You
need to
know, I
have
get the
one of
feeling you
those.
don't have a whole lot of anything online, do you? It's just the
I
Instagram.
have Instagram. That's it. I got rid of about let's see here, 2016. I got rid of Facebook. I was tired of all the
Okay,
political ads.
that sounds
I
fair.
tried that Twitter tweeting, but I no, I just don't do any of
No,
that Twitter tweet. Um,
okay.
Tiki Talks, I don't know, like I don't understand them. Um,
Yeah,
so
it was only during COVID that I had a TikTok thing, and that was just because I was home alone a lot, and I did not have I had all the money to spend on the vehicle, but I didn't have the outlet to wrench most of it myself. So yeah, I get it. I get it. I don't use a TikTok anymore except to post stuff for the show, and Facebook is just a way to keep in touch with family at this point.
yeah, and
I,
I mean, most people I have their phone numbers or I message them via Instagram if I'm gonna be in an area. Um, and then try and go wheeling. If we can't, we can't. Maybe just go
yeah,
grab a water. Um,
that's awesome. So you wrapped up your season for this year. You kind of went hardcore from EJS until what, like a week ago, and you just kind of got
no, I mean
home.
it was also spending a lot of time down in Phoenix at Modern Off Road, getting redoing Beatrice.
Okay.
So it was we'd have an event. We came back from Jeep Beach. I dropped Beatrice off down in Arizona. Then I had to go out to Seattle to go home for 10 days. Come back from Seattle, went to Phoenix for 2 weeks, worked on Beatrice, come back home for a week. My wife has to fly, she travels for work sometimes. So of course, she gets to, so I'm at home with the dog, you know, and then I don't work on my Jeep unless there's somebody there, at least in my house, for safety reasons.
That
Um,
sounds good. Do you have a tendency to get under your Jeep when you're not supposed to by yourself?
no, actually I'm pretty safe.
Okay.
I mean, I have cameras in my garage so that my wife can actually watch if I'm alive.
That's good to know. Yeah.
But I mean, we have a huge garage here in Mesquite. We have a large 3-car garage, and the Jeeps just sit in there, and I'll putter around. Really, it's just about puttering, unless I have something straight up I need to do.
I mean, that's whatever keeps you busy and whatever you enjoy doing. I mean, for some of us it's doing stuff like this, right? And some of it's going out in the backcountry, and some of it's crawling, some of us doing all the above plus wrenching a little bit.
Tomorrow, I'm going to go out and start getting a little more proficient on welding and practicing,
Okay.
just because those are things that I think are needed on trail at some
Yeah.
points. and then I've been taking another class to reiterate myself on EMT training, because at Trail Hero, one of my friends got pretty badly hurt and had to go to the hospital,
Oh,
and was airlifted out of St. George to Vegas.
good Lord. Okay.
He rolled and decided to grab the roll cage.
Yeah. Don't
Ouch.
stick your hands out, guys. Don't stick your
Yeah.
hands
Yeah.
out. Don't grab the roll cage.
Grab your harness.
Grab your chest.
harness. When Randy
Yep.
rolled, she grabbed her harness. This is the best thing to do. Once it's going over. Just grab your harness.
Are they doing okay now?
I haven't talked. I talked to him 2 weeks ago, and he was still waiting to get blood flow back in his fingers. It was surprising
Oh.
because none of them broke. It just ripped
Wow.
all the skin off.
Oof, that's worse.
Whew.
Yeah, but he
That's-
rolled
yeah.
this way. Like he rolled this way. He didn't roll like this.
Mhm.
He rolled.
Oh, yeah. Practice it. Like, it's one of the things, like, practice just grabbing your chest instead of grabbing the roll cage. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, when it happens, you're not ready.
Yeah. And the way that we're getting out there now, we're doing more technical, more advanced stuff. It's time to brush up on the EMT stuff, so that, if somebody does get hurt, at least somebody's out there that knows a little bit of something,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, it's good to know.
So.
I'm glad to know that you're at least a trained EMT at some level. If I'm out on the trail with you. 'Cause,
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I'm not going to go out and get a job as an EMT. It's I was in the Army and have extensive first aid training.
No, it's
and-
100%, and I recommend that for anybody who's on the trail. Like, get some basic training, at least in first aid. Learn how to tie a tourniquet, carry one in your Jeep. I mean, like the simple things. Just kind of safety is a big deal, and be the person that has it in their Jeep as opposed to be the person that's scrambling to find somebody in your group that has it, especially when that's
went out and got a axle helmet, just because there's certain times when, it was certain times you might need it, you might not. It's better to have it and not ever need it than not have it and need it.
Yeah, I'd much rather have a piece of safety gear I don't necessarily need in the back of my Jeep and just carry it with me at all times than not. So, like, I have a life straw with me, and I know someday I've needed it once, and I know it's a silly thing, but it doesn't take a whole lot of space. Either does a tourniquet, either does a basic first aid kit. And a lot of places locally will give you some sometimes free classes. Check out your local community center, check out your local community college. Sometimes they'll give you free stuff on that. So I'm sorry we got off on a tangent there about safety, but I saw a lot of I had 2 sketchy moments of my own in Sand Hollow, and I know that there's other people that had sketchy moments too. And it's just good. I think it's a good practice to just kind of bring that up once in a while. So that's cool, man.
Safety first.
Yeah. What's next in store for Beatrice?
Nothing.
Okay.
She is going to hold steady until at least after Trail Hero next year. I mean, maybe right before Trail Hero we'll throw some coilovers in her, but we'll re-look at that down the road.
Okay.
Because right now I have the stage 1 long arm kit, and it's, I'm a firm believer in knowing your equipment before you go out and change up your equipment to something bigger and better, because you don't even know it.
Okay.
The ones that you currently have.
Fair enough.
So get to know my equipment better, but we're starting Rattlehead, the CJ7. So
Okay. Oh, is that the name of it? Is that the official name of it?
yeah, its official name is Rattlehead.
Very cool.
It is, Megadeth had the #1 hard rock song in 1985, and it was called Rattlehead.
Okay.
So
Nice. Hey, man.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing it done, and then I look forward to finding out how much you sold it for.
oh, me too.
That's awesome. All right, man.
What's next up for you guys?
Oh, good Lord. I mean, possibly winter 4x4. I know Pope will be there for that. So I'm still kind of debating it. I probably will end up doing it because it's only a few days and it's an easy drive now. I've done it once. As long as Vail Pass isn't snowed in, it's an easy drive.
Yeah. Bryan, you're the first person you're going to hear about this. We're doing an Atlas and Misfit.
Nice.
And we're doing the front 3 link on
Nice.
from Moto-Built on the front side,
Nice.
and that'll be done before Christmas break.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice. Do I have to cut this
And
from the
then-
show, or is this public information?
No,
Okay.
you can leave this one in. Then next year when Moto-Built comes out with the rear half replacement kit, the frame replacement kit, we're going to do that and then double triangulate Misfit. It'll be a different setup than anybody else has up until that point, and then probably copied a lot after that because I think it's going to kick ass.
That's gonna be nice. That'll be that'll be really nice. Especially with the smaller gas tank that comes for the rear chop.
Mhm.
I think it's an 18 gallon or 17 gallon gas tank that Moto-Built does for that.
Yeah,
And that'll be a lot nicer for your departure angles.
yeah, and they're actually putting the gas tank in the bed.
Okay.
And Bender was the engineer from Moto-Built. Bender, he was looking at a couple of options. One option is using a JK gas tank because the JK gas tank would fit in there underneath. But he's also designed it, and you saw it on their post with a bed or with a fuel cell that takes about a third of your truck bed, and that would be sufficient for off-roading and rock crawling and stuff like that. It doesn't travel long distances very often anyway.
Yeah, because you guys trailer now.
Yeah, we trailer it now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be doing Winter 4x4 just because King of Hammers is right after that.
You don't want to just event yourself to death before the end of the year?
Plus, Winter 4x4 last year really did kind of bug me where you stage so far away from the park that it's kind of annoying. You're staging like a half.
Yeah, that's how they always do it for Winter 4x4. You're staging at the fairgrounds rather than in the park. And then and so then you have to plan your whole stay differently. So like when I'm at Trail Hero, everything's at the park, so I stay at Sound Hollow Resort. But when I went Winter 4x4, I stay somewhere near Washington because it's closer to the staging area where you meet first.
I mean, they do have a really good vendor show at Winter 4x4. I will say that because it is right there at the fairgrounds and it's inside.
Ooh, okay.
But I prefer coming in from the water tower and down into the park because they have a lot more parking for trailers. When we go out there just on any day, I park right there where the vendor show is at. That's where we park our trailer when we go out wheel. But it's just with King of Hammers being right there. Because last year, I celebrated my birthday out there for Winter 4x4, didn't we, Pope?
Yep. And it's one of those things you have to choose one or the other. You basically you can't really do both because they overlap.
Yeah. I don't think I can do King of Hammers. I think that's just too many people for me as much as I want to do it. I also don't necessarily know that it's kind of wheeling. I mean, I think I'd love to go like to experience it once, but I don't necessarily know it's something I want to go back to. How many days are you going for, Brian?
We're just going for like 2 days.
Okay. Nice little taste.
Industry stuff. We're not even taking the Jeep. We're going out there for industry stuff.
Okay.
Just to talk to some people and then see what else is going on out there. I don't like the level of drinking that happens out there. There's a high level.
Mm-hmm.
You could
especially
say that.
at night.
What'd you say, Pope?
Yep. I said you could say that. Like we watch the live streams on YouTube when it's going on.
You can see it.
It's just it's a complete mess.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to go be in that. I'll be hit by a beer bottle. I don't want to drive my Jeep in that. Someone's gonna throw crap at it.
It is one of those things that it's just like I don't know if I want to necessarily be around that for an extended period of time.
It reminds you of the lowest common denominator of humanity, and you don't really want to hang out.
Well, I mean, how many people die there every year?
Is there really like a death problem there every year? I mean, I'm not surprised
it's somewhere between 2 and 6 every year.
Oh, so there's a statistical chance that you might die for going to King of the Hammers. Awesome.
Well, because there's no stop signs at the four corners. There's no stop sign at four corners, and people are doing 85, 90 miles an hour, towing their rigs right through that intersection.
Yeah.
And they don't stop. And they're doing it at like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I'll stay my ass at home. So maybe someday, I'll get on a plane and do what you do a drop in for media or something and come out. But I couldn't see, like, it's everything I see online is just, there's no better term than shit show. Like, it is an absolute shit show. So it's Jason's.
And then we're doing 2 Great American Crawls next year as well.
Which ones you doing?
Which ones are you doing?
I want to go do AOAA out in Pennsylvania. And then I want to do the one in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
There we go. Did Eric sell you an AOAA?
Yeah. But Montrose would be fun. Montrose would be fun. It's just if you have a places to pick, I can go to Montrose anytime I want.
Yeah. I get that.
Las Cruces and AOAA, I mean, it's different wheeling, and it's about getting out there and seeing different parts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to Minnesota to go wheeling.
Yeah. That's a long trip for your Jeep, though. You gonna trailer it or are you gonna send it?
Yeah, we trailer.
Okay.
It. We trailer it.
All right, cool. Yeah. And the only other thing that Eric mentioned, and I don't know if he told you this or not, but that used to be a mine, and essentially it's that real fine rock. So make sure you wash yourself after you get out of there. Wash your Jeep.
Yeah.
Yourself, I don't care about.
So, yeah.
Just wash your Jeep.
Yeah. I mean, anytime we go down to Florida, it's wash the Jeep immediately when you come off the beach, because otherwise you get rust.
I feel like any place west of or east of the Mississippi, you pretty much got to just, if you get any kind of liquid underneath the vehicle, whether it's mud or just running dirt or running muddy water or water, you should probably just wash as often as possible.
Yeah. I mean, we're going out to Texas December 4th to go wheel at Wolf Caves.
Okay.
With Yee, and that should be fun. Got a whole group going out that'll be out there.
That's awesome.
So that'll be fun.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, good deal, man.
Get out and see the world.
Hey, you know what? I'm a big fan of just exploring, checking out new areas for trails. Like I love all the trails that I work for, that I keep up to date here for Trails Off Road. A lot of them are local, but man, it's really fun to just explore new places and explore different parts of the country. So kudos to you for getting out there and enjoying it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, try. I mean, that's the only way I can get my wife to stop being on her computer.
I mean, I think a lot of us have that problem, so I feel you on that. Well, cool, man. Anything else that we should touch base on before we let you go tonight, man?
Oh, I'm good. I thank you guys for having me on. I mean, it's an honor.
Brian, thank you.
I'll say that it's a true honor.
Thank you very much, Brian. Like I really appreciate it. We've been doing this show for a little over a year. You've been on a couple of the live shows now, and you're always welcome for those. But I wanted to just kind of have you in and just kind of talk about you, because I'd only kind of known you from a couple of those live shows and, kind of the limited interactions where honestly, we just met, kind of said hi to each other in Sand Hollow when we had to go. So really cool. It's really a good opportunity to get to know you. So thank you very much for coming on the show, man.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Well,
we'll see you guys. See you down.
Yeah.
See you down the road.
100%. And so Beatrice JKU doesn't have a giant online presence, but you can find them on Instagram. And we'll link to all of that in the show notes for this show. And Brian, again, one last time, thank you very much for joining us. Pope, you too, man. Appreciate you. And y'all have a great night.
Oh, no problem. It's great to talk with Bryan, even though he's one of my enemies with this name spelled wrong.
He's keeping an eye on you, Brian, just so you know.
Hey, we'll go to WrestleMania together, all right? We'll be best friends.
That'll make up for it. We'll be best
I
friends.
want
We'll
in
do
on that.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah. WrestleMania is in Vegas next year. I'm just saying.
Is it really? Oh, damn it. I'm going to spend my whole year and all my paychecks in Vegas. Damn it. All right. Yeah.
Well,
cool.
Yep, that's the way it is.
All right. We'll see you next time at the Trailhead.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night, everybody.
Just spiral on a roll. This is where trails start and stories unfold. Under starlit skies, where the wild things roam. Every trail a journey, every Jeep a home. Meet me at the trailhead, where the wild ones run, where the dust kicks high, and the day's not done. With the road wide open, and the dirt in our soul. This is where trails start and stories unfold. Unfold! road wide open.